Canada. A nation long known for politeness, peacekeeping, and quiet diplomacy. A country often cast as a reliable middle power, standing in the shadows of giants. But today that image is breaking apart. What we are witnessing is not the Canada of yesterday, this is a nation stepping onto the world stage with a boldness that demands attention. For decades, global affairs have been dominated by the great powers, the United States, China, Russia, the European Union. Canada was often left out of that conversation, its role described as supportive, secondary, even modest. Yet in 2025, under the leadership of Prime Minister Mark Carney, that narrative is being rewritten. Canada is not content with the sidelines. It is positioning itself at the center of diplomacy, alliances, and global influence. This transformation is not by accident. It is strategic. It is deliberate. And it is sending ripples across the international order. Mark Carney is no ordinary leader. His career has carried him from the governor's office of the Bank of Canada to the heart of European finance at the Bank of England. His reputation in economics and global diplomacy has given him a weight that few world leaders can claim. Now, as Canada's 24th Prime Minister, he has brought that stature home. But Carney is not working alone. At the recent United Nations session, he and his wife, Diana Fox Carney, stood side by side, shaping Canada's presence in ways the world could not ignore.
Diana's role is not ceremonial. It is strategic. Public diplomacy, humanitarian engagement, soft influence. She embodies the human face of Canada's new global ambition. Together, the Carneys present not just political authority, but a united front of intellectual power and diplomatic finesse. Their participation alongside Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky signaled something unmistakable. Canada is no longer just observing the great crises of our time. It is choosing sides. It is leading. Ukraine remains at the heart of this transformation. Where many nations wavered, Canada stepped forward, offering unwavering support for Kyiv in its struggle against aggression. Politically, diplomatically, and through international platforms, Canada has made it clear it will not stand silent in the face of war. This choice is not simply about Ukraine. It is about Canada using its moral authority, its reputation for fairness and principle, to bolster its global image. But Carney's Canada knows that soft words are not enough. Soft power, diplomacy, and multilateralism are its chosen tools, yes, but they are wielded with precision. In an era where hard power dominates headlines, Canada is proving that influence does not always require bombs or armies. Influence can be built on trust, on alliances, on moral clarity. Canada is proving that values, when backed by action, can be as forceful as any weapon. And yet, ambition carries risk. By stepping into the light, Canada now faces scrutiny unlike anything in its modern history. Every statement, every alliance, every initiative will be watched. Canada will be expected to deliver, not just promises, but results. The world will demand consistency, leadership, and resilience. And as history shows, the higher a nation rises, the greater the pressure, and the fiercer the backlash. Larger powers are already taking notice. Some may welcome Canada's assertiveness as a stabilizing force. Others may view it as interference. The reality is simple. Stepping into global leadership means confronting resistance, suspicion, and even hostility. Canada's ambition is rewriting the rules, and not everyone is prepared to accept it. But Canada is not backing down. At home, Carney's government is reshaping the country's trajectory. One of his boldest declarations has been to transform Canada into an energy superpower. To achieve this, his government has moved quickly, amending federal rules to accelerate major projects, unlocking resources, and positioning Canada as a reliable energy supplier in a volatile world. This is not just economics, it is geopolitics. Energy is power, and Canada intends to wield it. Carney has also made defense a priority, announcing that Canada will meet NATO's 2% GDP spending target earlier than expected. For decades, Canada has been criticized for underfunding its military, relying heavily on the protection of the United States. That era is ending. By committing to build real military capacity, Carney is signaling that Canada is ready to stand on its own feet. This is not a Canada dependent on others. This is a Canada reinforcing sovereignty, asserting independence, and shaping its destiny. The message is unmistakable. Canada is done being underestimated. It is no longer content with the background role of peacekeeper. It wants to lead, to influence, to decide. It is moving from middle power to something greater, a nation capable of defining global conversations, not just participating in them. For Canadians, this transformation brings both pride and challenge. Pride because for the first time in generations, Canada is being spoken of as a power that matters. Challenge because with power comes responsibility, and with responsibility comes risk. Canadians will need to prepare for the reality that leadership is not always comfortable, nor is it always popular. The world does not hand out respect. It must be earned. And Canada is finally reaching for it. Imagine this moment from the perspective of other nations. A country once dismissed as polite, quiet, and passive is suddenly hosting sessions at the United Nations, aligning with leaders in crisis, rewriting rules on energy, and expanding defense commitments. The shock is real. The shift is undeniable. Canada is making itself impossible to ignore. This is more than politics. This is history in motion. A redefinition of what it means to be Canadian in the global order. The world has entered a time of uncertainty, conflict, climate change, shifting alliances, technological revolutions. In this landscape, every nation faces a choice: retreat or rise. Carney's Canada has chosen to rise. It has chosen to step forward, to risk more, to demand more, to deliver more. And that choice will not only shape Canada's future, it will shape the world's. Because when a nation with Canada's resources, values, and determination embraces leadership, it does not simply add another voice to the conversation. It changes the conversation. Canada is no longer waiting for history to be written. Canada is writing it. If you are watching this right now, understand this. What you are witnessing is not just Canadian politics. It is a turning point for global power. The story is unfolding before our eyes, and the chapters ahead will decide not only Canada's destiny, but the balance of power itself. This is the new Canada. Ambitious, assertive, unstoppable. To truly see why this matters, look at the bigger picture. For decades, Canada lived in the shadow of the United States, tied by geography, trade, and security. That relationship often made Canada seem like the junior partner. But under Mark Carney, that narrative is breaking. This is not about cutting ties with Washington. It is about cutting dependency. Energy is the cornerstone. Carney is turning Canada's vast resources into global leverage. In a world scrambling for reliable supply, Canada is saying, trust us, partner with us, rely on us. Energy is no longer just economics, it is power. Diplomacy is the second front. The UN session with Zelensky was not symbolic, it was a declaration. Canada is not sitting back, it is taking sides, shaping conversations, and showing allies it is ready to lead. And leadership carries risk. Bigger powers are watching closely. Rivals are taking notes. Allies are recalculating. But this is the gamble, that the rewards of leadership outweigh the dangers. Canada is no longer reacting to global events. It is shaping them. It is not waiting for permission. It is taking initiative. The question is no longer can Canada rise? The question is, who can stop it? For decades, Canada was seen as polite but secondary, living in America's shadow. Mark Carney is breaking that story. His Canada is not dependent, it is independent. Energy is the weapon. By unlocking Canada's vast resources, Carney is turning the nation into a trusted supplier the world cannot ignore. Energy isn't just economics, it's power. Diplomacy is the second weapon. Standing with Zelensky at the UN wasn't symbolism, it was a declaration. Canada is not following anymore. It is leading. Yes, leadership brings risk. Rivals are watching. Allies are recalculating. But Canada is no longer asking if it can rise. The real question is, who can stop it? Canada has risen. Canada is leading. Canada is unstoppable.
If you enjoyed this video and want to stay ahead of the biggest shifts shaping our world, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe. Your support helps us keep bringing you bold, unfiltered insights into global politics and Canada's rising power. Turn on notifications so you never miss the stories others aren't telling, because history is unfolding right before our eyes, and you'll want to be here for every moment.